Hi, boys and girls. We're going to be reading in our Lesson 16 anchor text, and the story is going to be Let's Go to the Moon. And this is in our Grade 1, Unit 4, Journeys textbook. Okay, so have you guys ever thought about going to the moon? Would you like to go to the moon? What would it be like if you did go to the moon? Did you know that this is the moon? There's actually people that have gone there before. They're called astronauts. And the moon is really far away from the Earth, so you have to go there in a spaceship of some sort. Maybe the rocket will take the spaceship out to the moon. I know you guys have seen the moon, but do you know it's super far away? So, anyway, this is a flag, and this is an American flag. The astronaut put the flag on the moon. And that's his spacesuit. If you go to the moon, you have to wear a spacesuit because there's no air on the moon. And people need to breathe air so that they can stay alive. But the spacesuit has air. So it also keeps them so they're not too hot and not too cold, and so they stay safe. They won't get any sunburns or anything. So what else do we have here? This is a lunar rover. We'll learn more about that when we read the story. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. Let's go ahead and look at who wrote the story. This is Stephen R. Swinburne. Swinburne. He has never been to the moon, but he's been close to bears and bobcats and wolves, and he's written lots of books about the things that he sees. So this is an informational text. That means we're going to just be reading facts. None of this is going to be make-believe. It's all what really happened. So let's see. Let's read. Let's go to the moon. Oh, here's a heading. It says blast off. And when you have a heading, all the words that are underneath that heading are only going to be about blasting off in this case. Or over here when we see a different heading, all these words are going to be about this heading. Blast off! You see the rocket blasting off? See that? It's thrusting up into the atmosphere. Would you like to fly to the moon? Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Okay, so now this heading says the flight. Okay, so now you've blasted off and now you're flying. So all of these words are going to be about the flight. It can take 4 days to get to the moon. A rocket helps us blast into space. We ride in the spaceship at the top of the rocket. So let's have a look here. Here's the rocket, and at the very top there's a spaceship. You can barely see it. Okay, it says, the surface of the moon is dusty and has many craters. Okay, the surface means the top of the moon, the part you see, and it's dusty. Like if you're walking around, all this dust is kicking up. Or if you're driving around on your lunar rover, all this dust is kicking up. And it has lots of craters. These big round holes that you see on the ground are craters. It says, there are no plants or animals on the moon. There is no water or air. The moon has rocks, dust, and craters. A crater is a big hole. Okay, if anyone asks you, are there any plants or animals on the moon? Remember, you read it here. There's no plants or animals because there's no water or air. There's no water, then you can't water the plants. There's no animals because they need air. So do the plants, actually. Oh, another heading, spacesuits. This is astronaut Ronald Evans wearing his spacesuit. It's time to put on our space suits. Space suits help keep our skin safe from the very hot sun and the very cold shade. Because inside that spacesuit they have air conditioning and heating and air, everything you need to be comfortable. Okay, we're still talking about spacesuits. The spacesuits have air in them so we can breathe. Now we are dressed for our walk on the moon. Okay, so this is a heading. This says Moonwalk. All these words are going to be about a moonwalk. Walking on the moon is fun. We can take big, light steps. That means like you're instead of walking like this, you sort of walk like this. Ding, ding, because you're so light. You can probably jump up this high on the moon. We are very light because the moon has less gravity than Earth. By the way, gravity is like a force that pulls things down towards Earth's surface. So like this pen, watch what happens if I let it go. It was up here and it went down there. What made it go down there? There's a force that makes it go down called gravity. Okay. We carry space tools with us. We have jobs to do here. Okay, so during their walk, they have to go do some jobs. Okay, this heading says moon rocks. There's a moon rock. We find rocks and bits of dust to bring back home. We will show the rocks to people back on Earth. So part of what they do is they collect rocks and dust from the moon so that we can have them on Earth. It's like, now here's another heading. This says lunar rover. So lunar just means something that has to do with the moon. Like this is a moon rover. It's not an Earth rover. It's a moon rover, a lunar rover. And a rover is like a vehicle that you drive on the moon. Lunar rover. We drive around in our lunar rover. It's even more fun than walking in our fat spacesuits. Look at all the dust the lunar rover kicks up. Oh, this is about taking pictures, so all these words are going to be about taking pictures. So, we take pictures of our footprints. Look, the footprint he's making. You know, footprints is like a mark you leave. Like if you're at the beach, walking in the sand, or if you're walking in mud or snow, you leave a footprint. And our astronauts left their footprints on the moon. We take a picture of our spaceship, too. Our flag is up. They don't have any wind there, so they have to have a little pole to make it stick up. The reason they don't have wind is because there's no air. If they had some air, they would have some wind. Let's take one last look before we go. We see rocks and dust. Let's go home. That's the name of this heading. So this is going to be about them going home after visiting the moon. It's time to go back home. What is it like to be on the moon? It's strange and fun at the same time. Look at this child. This is a telescope. He's never been on the moon, but he can look at it up close using his telescope. When you look up and see the moon, what do you think? Our moon is beautiful. Okay, let's do our questions. Okay, it says, how is the moon different from Earth? So the Earth has water and air. So with water and air, you can have plants and animals live there. But on the moon, they don't have any plants or animals. So it's just dusty with lots of rocks. What do they call those big holes in the ground? They call them craters. I think that's at the very beginning. So, so very different from the Earth. What do astronauts bring to the moon? Well, they bring their spaceship. They bring their space suit. They bring their lunar rover. They bring some tools. Yeah, they bring lots of stuff. It says, would you like to be an astronaut? That means somebody that travels out into space. Why or why not? Give reasons. So that's your opinion. Some kids want to be astronauts and go and discover places, but it's also a dangerous job because there's no air up there. You have to bring all your stuff up there. Sometimes your rocket doesn't work. But some kids, it's worth the risk. When they grow up, they want to be astronauts, and so they become astronauts. Okay, boys and girls, that's all we're going to do in this book today. Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.